All right, we're going to get started here. The Ojrsd Roberts Board of School Directors regular business meeting, Monday, November 26, 2012. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:32. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing. Please join us in a moment of silence as we reflect on those serving in the United States Armed Forces, both past and present, the elected leaders of the state of Pennsylvania, and the elected leaders of our nation. We have much to be thankful for in our community. Thank you. Please be seated. Item 3, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Christian.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfelder. We do not have a student government report tonight. Kayla did a very thorough job on November 12th. Tonight, however, we're happy to recognize many of our students for their talents in the athletic arena, as also in the performing arts. First, congratulations to the high school girls cross-country team for their Pac-10 championship. They are coached by David Michael and assisted by Tim Marco, and I believe we have Mr. Strock and Coach Marco here this evening, along with our representatives from our Pac-10 championships.
Thank you, Dr. Christian. At this time, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Coach Marco to say a few words about our outstanding girls cross-country team.
Thank you, Dave. First, I'd like to thank Dave Michael, the head coach, who's still on Thanksgiving break with his family. It's nice to be retired, I guess. I'd like to thank the school board for allowing us to be here. I'd like to thank the administration, Dr. Marchini, Dr. Early, and Mr. Barr for all their help. And, of course, Mr. Strock, the athletic department here at the high school. Like they said, we were 9-1 this year in the regular season. Oh, let me bring up the girls first. The girls, come on up. The girls tonight, Aubrey Stuber, Derek, Sarah Helmers, Megan Renatus, Sarah Vey, Rachel Heisey, Abigail Winnan, Michaela Pupek, Rachel Malampy, Jill Weston, Taja Thompson, Sarah Taylor, Cassidy Hart. That's a majority of our bad. Like I was saying, we were 9-1 during the regular season. We won the Pac-10 championship cross-country meet with 42 points. The lowest score wins the meet, if none of you are aware. The second place team had 67 points. Our top 5 girls were all first team, all league. It's the first time that's happened in school history. That would be Jill Weston, 3rd place, Megan Renatus, 4th place, Sarah Taylor, 9th place, Rachel Malampy, 10th place, and Cassidy Hart, 16th place. Like I said, they were all first team, all league. Jill Weston and Megan Renatus were also all area. Jill Weston, Megan Renatus, and Sarah Taylor were also national elite with their times at the District 1 meet. And Megan Renatus was our state qualifier in Hershey a few weeks ago. Just to kind of finish off, cross country is a team sport, and I know that we run 7 people in the varsity race, and like I said, 5 of them were first team all league, but everyone contributed to that. It takes a whole team effort. It takes more than just the 7 runners to go on the line. It takes the whole team, everybody putting in their part. We had an unbelievable leadership and commitment to this year's team, starting in July and going all the way to the first week in November. Each and every girl played their part. It was truly an honor to be just one part of that successful season, and it's an honor to be here tonight with these ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Coach Marco, for a great year.
In addition, I think we have a champion to recognize in golf, as well as our drum majors.
Yes, sir. This time I'd like to introduce to you our assistant golf coach, Coach Kevin Kirby, who will present the certificate to our Pac-10 girls golf champion. Coach Kirby.
Good evening. As Coach Marco said, certainly need to thank people for being able to stand here tonight, especially with golf. It's a little bit different animal. We need transportation, we need cooperation with the golf course, where it's facilities that aren't necessarily under our control. And Dr. Marchini's administrative team, along with Mr. Strock's athletic department, give us all that support that we need. Thank you to you as well. All oversee that. The young lady standing before you tonight is a freshman. She was the Pac-10 individual golf champion on the girls' side, which is quite an accomplishment for anyone, especially a freshman. Maddie Sager is here with us, and as I said, she won the Pac-10 individual championship shooting a 77 for the league championship. That advanced her on to the districts, where she shot an 85. Much tougher conditions. It's more like a British Open for the districts if you follow golf. I think she missed by a stroke to make the cut at districts, which would have been another very good accomplishment, but certainly a very, very bright future for this young lady. A couple highlights for her. It is a team sport and an individual sport. We don't have a girls team here, so the girls who play at the varsity level have to compete on the boys team. As a freshman, Maddie came in early on, played well at the JV level, and ultimately played about 6 or 7 varsity matches against the boys. Later in the year, scoring in all but 2 of them. So again, quite an accomplishment in the team season as well as in the individuals. Great. So, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Coach, and thank you, Maddie, for a great year. At this time, if you haven't had the opportunity to see our marching band, and we have the opportunity to recognize our 2 drum majors who were selected the best drum majors at the Conestoga activity, and also to lead our band to a high ranking in the state. So this time I'd like to introduce to you Sarah Intosha and Hendrik Berger. Great job for you two this year. Very successful. We wish you the best of luck in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, big walkout round of applause for all those each of you tonight. Dr. Christian, that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Strock. I think you and I would be very happy to see a 77 on our golf cards, maybe for about 12 holes for me. Certainly not 18. Wonderful segue. Fresh off their performance on Thanksgiving Day down in Philadelphia, we have the 7-Ups here with their sponsor, Mrs. Sheila McIntyre, for performance, and we're very happy they're here this evening. Mrs. McIntyre.
Light a candle, everything's alright. Thank you. It's such a nice opportunity to have the wonderful opportunity to work with these great kids. They do work my nerves from time to time because they're always involved in marching band and the fall play and everything else, and I just want them all for myself. But when it's all time to get down to business and get down to work, these kids have never, ever, ever failed me. They have been wonderful ambassadors for O&J Roberts. I'd like to introduce our team in our soprano section, starting with Maddie Aker, Taylor Mace, Cassie Skonechny. I said it wrong. We call her Sketchy, and just go with it. Meg O'Connor, Sarah Antosha, Catherine Hood, Maddie Murphy, and Brianna Harbalia. In our male section, Hendrik Berger, his brother Jack Berger, Tristan Allen, Corey Articani, Mike Steyer, Zach Matarazzo, Alan Taylor, Elliot Bennett, and Austin Gunson. A round of applause for them, please. A wonderful freshman student who I would appreciate if the school board and the superintendent and Dr. Marchini would please make arrangements so that he never, ever, ever, ever graduates, because he is a fabulous freshman who has just brought so many wonderful skills and things to the choral department for me. I love him. His name is Mike Steyer. He has great things. He presented a small video presentation. So please enjoy part of our work in Philadelphia. He's a great kid. Thanks, Mike.
Dr. Christian,
Yes,
through
Mr.
the
McCall.
years, we've had recognition of the musical talent in the district. But this is one of those rare times when they perform for us. I think you should insist that every time we recognize some musical talent, we get a performance out of it.
Simply outstanding.
Very, very, very outstanding. Thank you.
One last item for the superintendent's report. I am happy to report that Owen J. Roberts School District has been recognized by the College Board as being placed on the third annual AP District Honor Roll. To achieve this honor, school districts, specifically the high school, must simultaneously increase access to the advanced placement coursework while also increasing the percentage of students who score a 3 or better on AP exams. There are over 90% of the colleges and universities in the United States that will award college credit for scores that are 3, 4s, and 5s on AP exams. So it's really a credit to our high school staff, faculty and staff, as well as administration and the curriculum department for this honor. There are 539 schools that earn this award, and we hope to make it an annual event. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Christian. Moving on to item 4, public comment. Informations, proposals, and statements from individuals or delegations pertaining to items on the agenda.
Oh, you just got disconnected.
Pertaining to items on the agenda, speakers are to indicate your name, township of residence, and the items on the agenda to which your comments are addressed. Speakers will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Moving on to item 5, Board Committee Reports. 5.1, Buildings and Grounds Committee, Mr. Hughes.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Item 5.2, Chester County Intermediate Unit, Mrs. Barkis.
One quick note, we had our meeting of the Intermediate Unit Board of Directors on November 14th at the Educational Service Center in Downingtown. We received a presentation on IU programs provided to students diagnosed with mental health disorders throughout the county. The one item I wanted to bring to your attention is that the 2013-14 calendar was approved, so it correlates with ours. And like I said, Dr. Christian can keep us updated if that was forever changed in the next 5 years. Our next meeting is to be held on Wednesday, January 16th at 8 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Barkis. Item 5.3, Curriculum and Instruction Committee, Mrs. Barkis.
I have no report at this time.
Thank you. Item 5.4, Extracurricular and Interscholastic Activity Committee, Mr. Stone.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. Finance Committee, item 5.5, Mr. Freeze is not here tonight. Item 5.6, Legislative and Policy Committee, Mr. Lukoff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this evening at 6:30, we had a committee meeting. We discussed a number of policies that will come before us for consideration, some policies for elimination, and the beginning of discussions on the internet usage policy. To further that, there will be a meeting early in January. I don't have the date as of yet. Concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Lukoff. Item 5.7, Personnel Committee, Mr. Freeze is not here again. 5.8, Pupil Services and Special Education, it would be Mrs. Edinger. Mrs. Barkis, do you know if there's any?
I know she has something scheduled either, I think it's at the middle of December, December 3rd, so I'm sure she'll have a report for us then.
All right, thank you. Item 5.9, Technology Committee, Mr. Hughes.
No report.
5.10, Transportation Committee, Mr. Stone.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. Item 6, Recommended Routine Matters. 6.1, Motion to approve consent items 6.2 through 6.9.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hughes, second by Mr. Lukoff. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 7, Approval of Routine Matters. 7.1, Motion to approve routine matters, item 7.2 and 7.3.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lakoff, second by Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 8, Board Communications. Mrs. Krumrine.
There are no communications, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Krumrine. Item 9, Board Discussion.
Mr. President, just a note. There was a ruling from the U.S. Department of Education that the Pennsylvania regulations on assessing the progress of charter schools was disparate from the rest of the assessment for the rest of the public schools, and there will be stricter scrutiny now on judging their performance. And under that stricter scrutiny, the number of schools making AYP dropped. A number of charter schools dropped rather dramatically.
Thank you, Mr. Lakoff. Item 10, Old Business. There's none. Item 11, New Business. Approvals, ratification of personnel matters. 11.1, motion to approve consent items 11.2 through 11.9.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lakoff, second by Mrs. DeLulu. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Kleinfelder, I think we have an item here that requires a motion to amend this evening, which may also require a motion to separate. By way of background for my colleagues, item 11.8, approval of extracurricular and supplemental positions. Mr. Strock informed me earlier this evening that under interscholastic activities, the middle school girls lacrosse coach that was up this evening has accepted a full-time teaching position in another school district. So
We did. We actually pulled that agenda item, so it was on what was originally posted, but we pulled it off of tonight's motion, so it would not be voted on and then have to accept the resignation next week.
okay. So it's on the paper copy, but not the...
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
Will not be approved tonight. She did accept another position. We'll reopen the search.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any more discussion?
Clarification on that?
Sure.
I'm reading the agenda, and there's one person listed. Were there two persons, Mr. Stone?
There were two.
No, we're done.
One has been removed from the...
We found out earlier this morning that we didn't want to hire somebody and then accept a resignation a week later, so we just pulled that one item.
So are you going to move to separate, or we don't need that now?
It's not necessary.
All right, we had a motion by Mr. Lakoff, second by Mrs. DeLue. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 12, new business. 12.1, approval to eliminate policies.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lakoff, second by Mr. Hughes. Any discussion?
Just for general information, we're removing the policies because they're obsolete. We no longer have the census function.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 12.2, approval of youth power co-coordinator and facilitators.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lakoff, second by Mr. Stone. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 12.3, ratification of homebound student.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lakoff, second by Mr. Stone. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 12.4, approval of student activity clubs and organizational approvals.
So moved.
Second.
Is that right? Motion by Mr. Lekoff, second by Mrs. Delulu. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 12.5, approval of out-of-state student trip.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stone, second by Mrs. Barkis. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 12.6, approval of revision to high school program of studies for 2013-2014.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lekoff, second by Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 12.7, approval of conference attendance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lekoff, second by Mrs. Delulu. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 13, public comment. Informations, proposals, statements, and/or questions from individuals or delegations pertaining to any item. Speakers are indicate their name and township of residence. Speakers will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Item 14, board request for information. Item 15, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lekoff, second by Mr. Stone. Future dates are listed. Meeting